Alright, it is 7:02 at almost 2 a.m. in the morning, Las Vegas time. We're headed into an eclipse, not for the United States, but for South America. But that South America is still the land of Pan. I can't stress that about these. Actually, there are going to be 4 eclipses. We've had one. This is the second one. We'll have another one in the United States, and then another one in South America. They crisscross each other. An eclipse generally won't happen in the same place on that same ley line every 360 years. It does a perfect circle. It takes 360 years. It goes around the circle that way. Eventually it covers the whole globe, right? Eventually everything in the sun belt, everything in the sun belt will get an eclipse, and it takes 360 years to do that. Now, how many of you have been through the crazy days I've been through? I want to talk about the moon. Let's back it up here. Let's back the moon up. And this is from North American perspective. Okay? Well, we've talked about Oculus Boreas and that moon being in the evil eye. Now I want you to watch this. We are going to change our location. Oh, not there. And we're going to Lima, Peru, where the eclipse, we can see the eclipse. I want Lima, Peru. South America, Peru. Make sure the city's over the guy's head. X out the box. You see how the moon now, from that perspective, moves up into Oculus Boreas? You can see it just as that little white dot right there on the moon. That's some serious magic going down there. Now let's follow the moon from South America. And we're going to follow it straight on over. Look, let me back up, and you need to mark this time. 6:30 at almost 7 o'clock in the morning. June 30th. The moon come in conjunct. See how it's snaking up and down? The moon does that. The moon conjuncts Venus on 7/1. Excuse me, this is just 3 days in the moon. And then it comes into the eclipse. If we change the location back to default, then we lose that eclipse. We don't see it. What we're going to see is the moon right on the outside of the sun. It's another unique thing to see. It really is. The moon in degrees of the sun as it passes, it does this, it goes through 1 month. Every month it's going to pass the moon in whatever house the sun's in. The moon's going to pass the sun at whatever house the sun is in. My brain is going one way and my mouth is going the other. I want to continue. So we have this eclipse, and it's happening in Gemini. It's happening on the mutable cross. It's happening in South America. It's happening in Lima, Peru. The last one happened on the fixed cross. When an eclipse happens, there's a traditional saying that heads will roll. Like when the eclipse happened in Paris, Marie Antoinette lost her head. So there's the old saying that the status quo changes. And that definitely happened here in the United States. but it happened on the fixed cross. This change is much more dramatic. This is not just a change. The transmutation has to occur on the mutable cross. It's you have to understand alchemy. When you're trying to get to a stable substance. So whatever prima materia you have here, it stabilizes. The transmutation occurs here, and the stabilization is brought about in the fixed cross. That's how it works. The world is trying to do an outward perverted alchemy. The alchemy is inward. The alchemy is within. And predominantly, it's not in the body. It's in the mind. It's for the renewing of the mind. When this whole thing about the zodiac is about the mind. These are the 12 different aspects of ourselves and their different states. All of this resides within us, in our body and in our head. We have two rings, one above and one below. One empowered by the moon and one empowered by the sun. And they both reside in the solar plexus. The moon and the sun reside in the solar. This is the plexus. The zodiac is the plexus of the sun. And the moon eclipses the sun. The sun cannot eclipse the moon. It can only combust it. From our perspective, the sun is combusting the moon. But from Peru's perspective, it is eclipsing. So there's a different energy. The energy is different. And we get the eclipse. It does it from every angle. Is a different energy. That's why the Pythagorean school is so important, because when you're doing astrology charts and you're doing the angles, every degree counts. But that particular theory is so full of traditions and assumptions, I can't find witnesses for it. It seems like they've destroyed the witnesses. I'm not up to that grade level yet. I mean, I know what I'm seeing and where what school, each house of the zodiac is one lodge of the mystery school. And everybody gets a turn to rule. And they rule on axes. So this eclipse is in conjunction. Venus is in Taurus, but Saturn and Pluto are retrograde on the mutable cross. This happens tomorrow at 3:56 in the afternoon, Lima, Peru time. Did I get my time right on that? Let me make sure. Oh, nope. Let me reset my time. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, it is. Correct. I'm on Lima time. And then you have Venus over the sun pillar. Remember, Saturn retrograde, the teacher's out of the room. But you're being watched. And so when Saturn turns around, all that's going down now is karma. You're building up karma or dharma. And the payoff comes when Saturn turns around. Mars is debilitated in Cancer. Anybody that starts a war or starts an argument while Mars is in Cancer loses. Whoever casts the first stone, you're done. Don't do it. There's going to be false flags and provocations. Now, remember, I want to show you something. There are two snakes. There are two snakes on the Pharaoh's head. I've been telling y'all there are 2 legends, 2 ledgers, 2 stories, 2 snakes. One snake that rules the lower kingdom, one snake that rules the upper kingdom. Osiris pulled the 2 thrones together, right? You have the serpent below the Kundalini, that's ruled by the moon, Mars, Jupiter, and then you have the upper ones, which are Saturn, Venus, and Mercury, are your upper chakras. They're in this serpent. And then you have the lower serpent. The moon works as the power source for the lower. The sun works for the power source for the upper. When we go into Aquarius, it's a Saturn-Sun matrix. Right now, we're really in a Jupiter-Mercury moon matrix because of the mutable cross. Jupiter overpowers Mercury. Jupiter controls commerce. Jupiter controls intellect, and all knowledge that's released is released through the Jupiterian mystery schools. Like I said, every house of the zodiac is a mystery school. It's a lodge, a fraternity, a guild, a network, whatever you want to call it. And each one has its own codes, its own symbols, its own translations. Every one has a different symbol for Venus. But right now, all information is controlled by Jupiter. This little star right here that we're never told about is really, it truly is in control of everything in this age. This is their guiding light of this age, and it's not considered a fixed star. There are only 4 of those, and it sits between Aldebaran and Fomalhaut. I'm sure this star has a big play in it as well. The Coyotes. Let's find well, they give it to us. All of these stars used to be translated in Stellarium. And one update, the second frog. Oh yeah, these are the frogs that come out of the prophet, the priest, and the king. The false prophet and all that. Yeah. Those are your frogs. Oh, don't want location. I want star lore. I try to keep it in the Western because that changes. This I'm doing it in the Greek. If we move to the Arabic, the tales change. I'm trying to stick with a Western tradition that's really been given in this age so that we can understand it from our warped perspective. Let's learn to see around corners. We can know what's there before we get there if we know how to read the map. And that's what this is about. I've been fascinated with maps my whole life. I love archaeology, but archaeology that was given to us didn't make any sense to me. And immediately as a child I understood, hey, all of these are representations of constellations in the heaven. They follow the sun belt, and they've built it all over the world. So it's real easy. Once you learn the symbols, you can follow the sun or the moon itself. And learn their comms, learn their communications. You learn their symbols, their legends, their logos. This is all about symbols and logos. In the beginning was the Word. That is a logo, a symbol. And nothing was created that was created without that symbol. And in the mind of the Pythagorean school, that is right here. It's called triangulum. And nothing was made without the triangulum, which is the square. You have the square. This right here is called a speed square in construction. It's a speed square. And you can measure your angles. That way you know what degree to cut the wood so the pieces fit together. And that comes from this school. It's a very high knowledge base. This is Cardinal Fire. These people are freaking intelligent, more than we can know. And without the Mercury influence, once they got a hold of the Mercury influence here, this age really is ruling that right there. But back to the eclipse, because this is just the beginning of it. As we had 7 years here fixed, with the halfway point being a 2020 Saturn-Jupiter conjunction on the winter solstice, and 3.5 years between 2 7-year eclipses. One starting here and culminating, I believe, in Aries on the cardinal cross. This one starts here for them. So as we had our beginning at the Leo eclipse, they will have theirs at the Gemini eclipse. Okay? But that's not all. Let's keep up with the moon here and move forward. On right there, July the 4th at 1 a.m. Let's bring it back to the United States now, because that is our day, right? That's the day for this country, and we're going to have a moon conjunct a debilitated Mars with Mercury in play in the moon's house, the divine feminine, cardinal water. Let's go back to oh, I didn't do that right at all. And we're good to go. And you see, it's not as strong here for us, but we still get the moon Mars conjunction again, for us, as the moon was just skirting the sun from North American view, it's going to skirt Mars as well. But for Peru, they will get that, and that is a big FF. Might as well call it a 60, what they call a 66. And then that ain't the end of it, because we still got to do with the ritual that went down in Oculus Boreas, and it will culminate at its opposite. So here we go. Let's stick with the moon. Can we travel with the moon, please? There we go. Every time the moon comes over, this is the spot where the moon conjuncted the sun, or solar eclipse for the United States. And we'll feel that. We'll feel that little tug, that little tie that binds there every time the moon crosses Leo, until the next eclipse breaks that cycle. But the power is initiated towards South America. Big transmutation and change coming. Woohoo! I'm excited about that. To me, that's it. To bring about change is always ugly, but that's the good news. Now, here's what they're waiting on. The Oculus Boreas ritual is designed to culminate here, when the moon is at 90% conjunct Jupiter in Mars's house of the hero Ophiuchus, upper house of Scorpio. And no, there's no 13th sign Ophiuchus. If you want to travel down that road, by all means, help yourself. I don't need to go there. I know how to read the map, and I know where it goes. Dead end. Still got that Mars. That's the 13th. The 13th of August. No, July. Oh, I wish it was August. But Mars still debilitated in Cancer. Don't start any arguments here. Just don't. You know, when you got Mercury and Mars both in Cancer, it's like Mars is debilitated. And so Mercury's going to talk a big game, right? This is the provocateur. It's all talk and no action. All talk and no action. But the one that does take action is the one that goes down. That's why no country will ever start a war here. Mars is debilitated. It's vacation time. It's time to be lazy. It's time to do nothing, especially plumbing. Don't do any plumbing work. You're going to regret it. You should have done that before Mars got here or after Mars leaves. But don't do any plumbing here. Now, the thing about Mars is he's debilitated in Cancer. He can't do anything. It's like his hands are tied. No action. But he reminds me of like being at a horse race and the horses that are in the gates. And they know that gate's fixing to open. And they want to come out really fast. And when he comes out of Cancer into Leo, that's what he's like. He gets really fast. And he just jumps out of that gate with everything he's got. 100%. Boom! So be prepared for action always occurs when his strongest action occurs when he comes out of debilitation. Because he's been resting here. He's saving up his energy. No action, but a lot of rhetoric. Don't react to any of it. Do not respond. This is a test. The teacher is out of the room, but you are being watched. So much going on. And you know, that eclipse, let's roll it back. This has been so difficult. I can literally mark the hours on the clock through the last day that I've had. 11:11 here is eclipse time for Las Vegas. Interesting. I'm not shocked at all. I went yesterday, I went to sign the lease on my new apartment and to call the power company and to have my internet turned on. And when I went in, the manager was there. I've been working with a leasing agent for the past 2 months. And she sat there and went over my application and decided that Kelly's not allowed to live there. That she's 45 pounds over their maximum allowed weight. And denied my application. And that was my Oculus Boreas moment. My evil eye moment. That had I waited and gone in the afternoon instead of the morning when the manager was at lunch, the leasing agent would have pushed me right through. I made him, well, it'll all work out. It is what it is. So now I'm back at 0. I'm back in the same spot I was in 2 months ago. Everything I've got's packed up and ready to go. I've kept out a few clothes and a couple of toys for Kelly, and I mean everything is in boxes stacked, ready to walk out the door. I've tore my kitchen apart, everything. And then now, I'm not going. And it was the perfect place. It had this huge patio that was half concrete, half grass, just for me. And Kelly could lay outside in the sun all she wanted to. And now they've denied me. And they have several other complexes, but Kelly's a fat girl. Their weight limit's 25 pounds. So I'm back at 0. I felt it. And that I even had a heat stroke yesterday. I had going through menopause, and I had a hot flash in the middle of the day, sitting at a bus stop when it was 105 degrees outside, and the wind wasn't blowing. And I took my water and I was literally started pouring it on top of me. I was just pouring it down my shirt to cool me down. It wasn't, I had drank all the water I could possibly drink. So I just started pouring it on me to cool me down. When I got in, I just collapsed. I've been in 120 degree weather and it didn't do that to me. But I had a heat flash right on top of all that heat I was already sitting in. I feel much better today. Actually, I feel very good today. I feel very rested today. I did. When I came in, I collapsed and I slept and I slept and I slept. Kelly actually had to wake me up, and that doesn't happen for me often. So I feel good today. I'm not depressed or sad about any of this at all. I'm happy that I can see what's going down and what's coming. I won't be caught unaware. I know the time of our visitation. And I know South America is in for a huge change. That change has already been coming. It's coming for the whole world. You know, having an eclipse point is just like being between ages. It's that shifting of the power. It's the changing of the guard. It's handing the power off from the lower chakra to the upper chakra. And we can see how the lower chakras are having a fit. I mean, those who are ruled in the lower chakras are screaming at the top of their lungs right now. They don't want to let go of power. But their time is up. You can't defy the heavens. When it's your turn, you can tell all the lies you want to. And you have. But it's not your turn anymore. The power is shifting. The power's shifting from Jupiter to Saturn. The big battle comes is when Jupiter enters into its own house with Saturn. This is when you're gonna, oh my, that's when we see it start playing out right in front of us. All this is going on behind the scenes. This is the distraction. This is the distraction. Watch the sun, watch the eclipse. Jupiter is coming out of Scorpio into his own house with the attitude of the hero. He's Hercules here. This is his buddy Mars's house. This is lower chakra. This is sexy, war, make love, not war, the hero, right? And so he's gung-ho when he comes over here, but Saturn's waiting on him. And so's Pluto. And there's a big battle that's going to occur in 2020 between the church and the state. Between the right and the left. And the end game plays out in Saturn's house. And Jupiter loses. He loses this time. Do not put your money on Jupiter. The state is going to win this round. And Saturn's in control. Kabbalistically, the Jews already know Saturn's in control for the next 36 years now. 36-year cycles. I refer you to their work in Spherical Kabbalistic Astrology. A lot of you have that book. I've given it to you. It's in there. Saturn cycles. Well, it's Saturn's turn in more ways than one. We're moving from a Jupiter age to a Saturn age. The battle goes down in Jupiter's house, and Saturn wins in his own. And Saturn's houses are side by side. Everybody else split up their power. Everybody else's power is divided. Saturn's is equal. It's one. It's one house. It's Pan. It's the P and the N. It's the Pana. The Paniel. The Pana God. The Paniel God. The Panael. The pine cone of God. Yeah. The upper God in the upper house. That is so freaking weird. How long is it going to be here? The moon is, I guess, the big day that everybody's talking about. There's a lot of rhetoric about it. Is on the 4th. When the moon is in its own house. This is cardinal water. This is a power time for what we call the left. I'm watching the same story that's playing out in the political theater and on television that's playing out in the heavens. It's the same thing. It's their copy, and they twist it to try to change it, and it's not working anymore. It's not working for them anymore. Somehow or another, something happened. I have no choice. It began here in the eclipse. That this power shift happened here. The 2020 conjunction is the halfway point, and that's when Jupiter is done and Saturn takes over, and leading up to the next eclipse that happens here for us in North America. But interesting, to say the least, at what all's going on. But both of these eclipses happened in the land of Pan, North and South America. That's actually represented in the celestial by Aquarius and Capricorn. By South America Aquarius and North America Capricorn. And they're one. They're just one land. It's not two. We used to recognize it that way. You know, there is upheaval. When we had the Pan American Highway and Pan Am Airlines, America, North and South, were great. It was just frickin' Eden. And then they changed the symbols and they perverted them. They took away Pan and they gave you Baphomet. And ever since they've started putting these images, these perverted, I call it the image of the abomination of desolation, because it's perverted imagery. And it's tearing this land apart. Physically, spiritually, in both worlds, in the spiritual world and the physical world. That image, that perverted image that they're giving us, and it's even these perverted images right now, I think the most perverted image they have, and it does this, or I don't know if it's which way they're doing it, it's counterclockwise. It's they trined the circle and the spiral, or the spire. They trined them. I don't even want to go what into ugly magic that is. But we know where it leads. We know where it leads. I'm going to go ahead and cut this video here. I need to get to the library. I've got a lot to do today. I'm not sure how I'm going to deal with this. I really don't see getting anything done for me right now while Mars is in Cancer. I kind of had that feeling that if this dragged on and Mars got into Cancer, that is just a do nothing. And don't even try. Whatever you try to do, you're going to have to do it 2 or 3 times to get a half-assed job done. So just don't. If this is a time that I'd actually tell you, put off tomorrow till tomorrow what you don't have to do today, because it's all talk and all bark and no bite until the moon walks in and empowers Mars. And I don't know what's going to happen there, but all I know is whatever dog bites first, it gets put down. That's what I'm telling you. That's what plays out here with Mars in Cancer. That's your root chakra, that's your actions, and there's your voice. You better talk it out. Talk in cardinal water. Mercury can work with this. Especially when the moon comes over. Mercury can work with this. But Mars can't. Venus in a very powerful position today. But y'all need to start playing with this. You can keep a journal and every day mark where the planets are and what degree in that sign and what that day was like for you, and then put one word at the top of the day. You know, good day, great day, bad day, sad day, happy day. And then at the end you can make a graph. How many happy days, how many sad days. You can put happy / fun, or happy / you went on a trip. It was a vocal day. It was a day of action. It was a lazy day. Put a descriptive word on it to describe that day. And then you'll know. You'll get used to what your desires are, Jupiter. What your actions are, Mars. What your words were that day, Mercury. And then at the end of the year, you'll have and the next year you can look back and see where that planet was on when it was on that day, how it felt like, and what to expect. But then you have to keep the variables. It's like reading a natal chart. A lot of charts were born in different years, but they'll be very similar. Actually, somebody born 1 year from you is closer to you on your natal chart than the person born the next day, because of your sun signs. You get a lot of that information, but the variables lie in the planets. You know, the sun sign is only our outward personality. I mean, our inward personality. The sun is your power source, your inward personality. It's the inward, but the moon is the way other people see you. I always like the sun, the moon together, because when I find that in somebody's chart, I know that the inside is like the outside. What you see is what you get. There's no pretense. All right. Other than like a lunar eclipse where the sun and the moon are completely opposite of each other. That's a deceptive person. What's on the outside is not what's on the inside. Not what we see. But here's the guy shaking in his boots. This is his age. He's the one up. He's the one up for losing his head. You know, and that's funny. Jupiter, guru. In Bhasparati, it's guru. And when the eclipse happened in India, it was the gurus they went after. The heads were rolling of the gurus. When it happens in Leo, kings' heads roll. And I have to tell you, a lot of CEOs went down after this eclipse. I mean, across the world, not just in the United States, but the upper echelon leaders of a lot of companies, CEOs, a lot of politicians, they all resigned. Unprecedented amount. And it was all because of that eclipse. So this one is in the house of Hermetics. This is Buddha. This is mutable. This is transmutation. This is transmutation. This is change. This is change for Mercury and Jupiter. This is change for commerce and religion. It's coming. And if they don't change themselves, if we don't change this in ourselves, it's going to be done for us. Saturn's over here doing it. He's like right now he reminds me of the teacher that sits at the desk and just beats the pen, staring at the class, saying nothing, just looking at him, tapping his pen, just looking at him. And they're all sitting there shaking in their boots, waiting. What's he going to say? Well, he's not going to say anything till he turns around. And then he's going to have a lot to say about what all just went on back over here. And by then, Jupiter's going to step over here. And it begins. We get to see it. They say the revolution will not be televised. No, but it's written up here, and it's going to be a crazy show. They're not going to televise it because right now, this guy's in control of television, all media, all propaganda, all over the world. Nothing is published that does not have his seal on it and the seal of the fire priesthood. That's it. They approve everything. They're cardinal. They're tied in with this group. They're one group. Remember, they're one group. They've showed us the fire symbol and the water symbol. And together they are one. Asia, Europe. These are the Caucasus Mountains, so they're Caucasians. Yeah. I got European blood in me. Don't get mad at me because I harp on the Europeans. It's their age. It's their time. Yeah, they done a bad job. But the age of fire done no better. These ages done no better. Everybody's had their turn. Everybody blew it. Okay? We all blew it because we were all being led from the lower chakras. But this time, we get to be ruled by the crown chakra. Yeah. And it's going to be different. I'm so excited. I can't wait till we're all truly in the kingdom. That the whole world is one big kingdom. Not under Jupiter. Not under Mars. Not under those lower chakras of the past 2 ages. But straight to the crown. That's where we need to be. And that's where we're going. And it's going to happen in an instant. The shift is going to be so huge. They've drugged most of the population into the deepest, darkest, depraved depths of darkness they can. It's like lower chakra, that's way over my head. They are gone. Done. Completely programmed robots to the program. And they don't see it. It's like they have no soul. I don't know what to say. Zombies? What do you call these people? They're being... That leash there is around their neck and it's choking them down. And they don't... They love it. They love it. But it's going to go down in a single instant. In just a moment. Just like in I Pet Goat 2 where the Swami Jesus comes up and the corporate America's done. Corporations are done. And we're going to see that happen as that's been their plan for the whole time. There's 2 great works. There's 2 snakes. There's 2 powers. There's 2 legends. There's 2 stories. There's 2 ledgers. They cooked the books. Here's the guy with the ledgers, by the way. He held on to them. He showed them to you. Why do you think they call them 2 tablets? Because there's actually 2 sets of commandments there. You just don't know it. The Levitical priesthood had a separate set of commandments all to themselves. This is the Levitical priesthood. The Babylonian priesthood is their proper name. And they stole all this knowledge from all the previous ages and corrupted it. So that this age right here remained under their control. They lied to them. This age lied to this one. Set them up for a fall. This guy right here actually controls that. He controls the Vatican. This is the Vatican who controls all religion. But this guy over here has got is playing with what he was told not to play with. This guy here has the feet. This is the feet of iron. And it mixed with this age, which has the miry clay. Virgo. Don't play with Virgo. And they did. They were told not to. And it all comes down because they decided to make war a corporation. and commerce. They wanted to make money off of war, and that's what they did. And they used religion to do it. A bogus, confused, warped tradition. So I kind of understand that they want to pervert the images that have been given to them. They don't want this age to figure it out. So before we go into the next age, let's pervert all the images like what was done to us. And when you pervert the images, it brings about destruction. And because of the perverted images they have plastered and built statues to all over the world, then it is falling. And all of the good images are being told, that's oppressive, take it down. Are you hearing what I'm saying? It's all about the images. The symbols are the power. I've gotten several decks of tarot cards from you guys. Thank you so much. And when I start laying the decks out and looking at them, I'm waking up to it. More and more and more and more. I had somebody say, how can you be a Christian, an astrologer? I'm not a Christian, number one. I've never said that. I've never said that. I read the Bible as an astrology book and as an alchemy book. And alchemy is an encoded language of symbols. So it's not just merely astrology. It's also alchemy or chemistry, if you prefer. You know, when a man meets a woman or whatever, and they have that, when two people meet and they have that chemistry, that chemistry, it comes from the black land, alchem, which is the real name of Egypt. Kemet, which actually means black cross, because it was the black land. It's earth, its color's black, it's feminine, it's ruled by Venus, the heart, and Rome and its iron legs comes along and stomps it out. I love, what was the movie? The Gods Must Be Crazy. Do you remember that? How many of you seen that? If you haven't seen The Gods Must Be Crazy, I'm sure it's on the internet somewhere. Go find it. They have this scene where this rhino, they call him he stomps out fires, right? Rhinos, when they find fires, they run and stomp them out. Yeah, fire stompers. The rhinos. New meaning today, huh? See how words change meanings. You have to know the meaning of a word in its original legend to really understand it, because they're perverting everything in this age. So that in the next age that they think they're going to set us up, that we won't have a chance to figure it out. But in the next stage, our third eye's going to open everybody. And everybody's going to see the truth. And it is told to us that everybody's going to wake up. And in the twinkling of an eye, some to everlasting life, and some to condemnation. That is self-condemnation. You will be ashamed of yourself at what you did and didn't do in this school. This is mutable water. And it is the most change that ever occurs on the circle, occurs on the feminine axis of the mutable cross. That's where the most change occurs in alchemy. Right here and in Virgo. But we're going from the very bottom all the way to the top. The least shall be the greatest. The least in this age will be the greatest in this age. You can thank your lucky stars. And every one of these stars are lucky stars. Every one of them. They're all lucky stars. From Capricorn all the way over here. All of this. And here's your most lucky star. Your guiding light. Your master. Your teacher. When you start connecting with Fomalhaut and letting go of Aldebaran and the age of Orion, letting go of the old earth, the old ways, the old lodge, the old knowledge. And it literally means letting go of your heart. Then you can see the new guiding light, the new fixed star. That, you know, the heart is really what's got us through this, through both of these ages, is what was left of our hearts. But here, we're not going to have that problem anymore. All of the woes and tears, all this big corporate rule that just wants greed and more and poverty and slavery, all that's going to be gone. We'll take that same knowledge and we'll build a sustainable world. And I know that's true because part of this is cardinal Earth. The Earth and our existence here does not get any better than in Capricorn. This is cardinal Earth, most high of the Earth. So this is the Earth at its most pristine state, its apex, its summit, its Capri, its capstone. That's the capstone, the Ancient of Days. You know, I wanted to end this video. Altair, in Stargate SG-1, and they kept telling us about the ancients. The ancients were from Altair, and they built the Stargate. To me, they built the Zodiac. Somebody asked me, where does this come from? It all comes from Altair and Capricorn, and they call them the ancients, and Capricorn is known as the Ancient of Days. This guy sits on the throne, the king, Aquarius. Thalem sits on the throne till the Ancient of Days come. Altair. And to me, in Stargate World, this is where they were going, to Altair. Terra-Z and Altair. The real eagle, not the other ones. And this is the one grabbing for the snake. And this one over here is the Dolphin, or the Dauphin. It's heir to the throne. That's why you see the dolphin. He's heir to the throne. Somebody asked me, if Aquarius is the water bearer, why is it an air sign? If Scorpio is a water sign, why is it a scorpion that's in a desert and can't stand water? Actually, it's an eagle, which has nothing to do with water either. The images are put there for the profane, so that you never figure it out. So that you never, that's just bogus. It don't even make sense. Aquarius is supposed to be a water sign. Aquaman. No, that's there for you. So you would say that and just walk away. To me, the son of perdition is this zodiac. It's Dishon images, the images. Père Dishon, the house of the sun, the house of the images. And because it's perverted. This is Persian. This is Greco-Roman. This is Arabian. This is Babylonian. This is all over the world, really, but Asian, Buddha, Thoth, Hermes. We call this Egyptian. It's all over the world. We get it. It's just everything's perverted. They made this up. This is Osiris's body put back together, and they couldn't find the phallic, so they built one, and it's a fake one. And their fake phallic is Sirius, actually. Sirius. From Aldebaran to Sirius. But here's the true phallic. And this is the flock in the next stage. We're birds. And we'll be two birds. Two flocks in one. North and South America. They, to me, in the Indian tradition, this is the eagle and the condor. When the eagle and the condor fly together. How many of you have heard that? That Native American tradition, and it's all over the Americas. When the eagle, from South America to North America, when the eagle and the condor fly together. This is the eagle, this is the condor. Okay? Buckle up. Be prepared. A lot of talk, a lot of provocation. Don't be deceived. Don't take any action. They're going to push you to an FF event. Don't buy into it. Just shrug it off. The more you focus on it, the more energy you give it. Don't give it your energy. Focus your energy here. Focus your energy in the upper chakras. But leave Mercury out of it. Because he's gonna be, woof. All talk, no action.